everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Points of Articulation. My name's Dave, and if you're new to the channel, welcome. Today I'm looking at the Star Wars X-Wing Miniatures game 2nd Edition TIE Advanced X1 Expansion Pack. Now, the TIE Advanced was first seen in Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, and if you're wondering, no, this is not a brand new model at all. It's the same exact ship we got with the first version of X-Wing, but with a new color scheme on it. But don't let that deter you, because it is a nice ship, and you get everything you need to add this to your core set of the 2nd edition version of X-Wing. So for the ship itself, we're looking at a tiny bit over, I would say 1¼ inches long for its size, which is pretty good. Again, these are to scale with each other so far, so that's a big plus. So you all know the drill, we have a lot to cover, so let's get this review started. And now it's time for my favorite part of these videos, the dial token roll call. 1 maneuver dial, 3 ship tokens which are double-sided, 1 stress token, 2 shield tokens, 2 lock tokens with number 8, 4 charge tokens, 3 force charge tokens, 1 dial ID token, and finally 3 ship ID tokens. And that does it for all the dials and tokens, so now let's take a look at those cards. Alright, up first we have our upgrade cards. Like always, I will read the name of the card. If you would like to pause the video and read the paragraph below, by all means go right ahead and continue when you're done. First up, Cluster Missiles, Fire Control System, Heightened Perception, Ruthless, Squad Leader, and finally Supernatural Reflexes. So that does it for all the upgrade cards, so now let's take a look at the ship cards. Alright, for the ship cards we have Darth Vader, Marek Stel, Ved Fasla, Zertek Strawn, Storm Squadron Ace, and finally Tempest Squadron Pilot. So that does it for the ship cards, so let's take a quick look at the quick build cards. For the quick build cards, here is the first one, and here is the second card. So now that we're done with all the cards, let's put this ship on a stand and finally look at that beautiful mold. Now, just like all the X-Wing Miniatures game ships, it comes with 2 pegs you combine together to make one longer rod, a base, put it on like so, grab your ship, be a little gentle here, and just like that, you're good to go. Alright, finally taking a look at the mold of the TIE Advance. Like always, I will go over the major parts of the vessel, and then we'll get nice and close to see all the fine details this baby has to offer. So up first, we have our solar array wings. Looking very nice. I love all the paneling on the solar panels. Tons of little dots, amazing stuff. Our wing brace, looking good. We have our aft section with our reactor, ion engines, hyperdrive engine, looking awesome. On the bottom, peg port for our stand, laser cannons, pylons, transparent steel viewport, looking great. On the top, we have our cockpit hatch, and that's all the major sections of the TIE Advance, so now let's get a closer look. Alright, getting as close as I can to the ship, let's go over all the sections, and then I do have some things I do need to bring up about this vessel. So in the front, we have our transparent steel viewport. Look at that, recessed windows, awesome. Then we have our laser cannons, beautiful line work around the cockpit, nice little molded sections. Then we have our sensors on the sides, looking pretty cool. Coming to the top of the vessel, look at all that detail. I love the cockpit hatch. Again, recessed windows, painted black, very nice. Coming back to the reactor and ion engine section, beautiful detail. Look at the line work and recesses. Nice stuff. I think that came out great. Looking by the wing and the pylon. Again, some beautiful molded details in there. And on this side, excellent stuff. Now the back is mostly flat, but right here where the engine is, you can see a little molding. Pretty cool. On the bottom of the ship, beautiful detailing. I love the line work. Can't stress that enough. Beautiful stuff. The underneath of the cockpit, peg port for the stand, the pylons looking amazing. Really think they did a great job there. Back to the front of the ship, front of the pylons looking amazing. Awesome stuff. So now let's take a look at the wings. Alright, for the exteriors of the wings, we have our wing brace, our solar panels on the sides looking fantastic. I love the hundreds of little raised dots, looking beautiful. Then each one of those sections has a nice raised border. Looking sharp. So now let's check the wing interiors. Now for the wing interiors, we have some beautiful molding in the front. Kind of messed up by the blackwash, but we'll get to that. Then we have our wing brace, connector bit to the pylon, and some beautiful solar panels with those raised bumps. Beautiful stuff. And that continues to the back. Hundreds of little dots. And then we have some molding in the back of the wing. Pretty cool. To the aft section. And then on the bottom of the ship, basically it's mirrored, but well done, nicely detailed. Not a bad ship, but it does have some issues, so let's talk about it. So you might be asking yourself, Dave, what issues do you have with the mold? Well, like I said, I do think it is a great ship, but it does have some drawbacks. First of all, the wings are very jagged, and they're not very clean. I guess that's what I could say about the whole ship. It's not very clean. As you can see, there's a piece of molding right there hanging off. And on the back here, look at that, all jagged. Now, in the ship's defense, I am really close to this thing. So many people won't even realize that stuff. But right here, this is the big one. Right in back of the cockpit, there was an excess of plastic on the seam line. And it goes all in the front of the ship as well. Now, you might be thinking I'm, blowing this out of proportion. But here is the original. And as you can see, there's nothing there. Like, yeah, you have the seam line, but it's not big and hanging off like this one. I don't know, pretty weird. But all in all, these are decent ships, but this one definitely needs to be cleaned up more. So that does it for the mold of the TIE Advanced. It has its positives and some negatives. But now let's check out the paint. And now looking at the paint of the TIE Advanced, this bad boy features 6 different colors, believe it or not. First color up is a nice blue for the main body. Looking sharp. Now personally, I prefer the whitish gray version, but to each his own. Cool. Next color we have is black for the solar panels on the wings. Looking good. It does have some blue specks here and there, mainly on the bottom, but not bad. Again, we are zoomed in. We also have black for the interiors of the wings. Looking sharp. And also the aft sections. Moving on. We have orange for the laser cannons. Glossy black for the viewports. And that glossy black is very glossy. It's reflecting all the lights. Pretty cool. Next we have gray for the transparent steel viewports supports. And then finally, you guessed it, we have blackwash, which fills in all the nooks and crannies and really makes this model pop. Now on the main body, it's fine, it looks great. However, on the wings, it's a little heavy on here, to the point where it looks like it's black on some of the parts. Right here too. And I never complained about blackwash before for any of these X-wing miniatures, but I'm not really digging this. And it seems to be only on the wings themselves where it's a little heavy. The main body is perfectly fine. And don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of blackwash, but I think it's a little overkill on this one. But besides that, it's a nice looking model. So that's everything I have to say about the mold and the paint. So now let's put this baby back on the stand, compare it to some other ships, and then we'll be done. Now for a quick size comparison with the second edition TIE Advanced seen on the far left. Moving to the right, we have the first edition TIE Advanced, the second edition TIE Fighter, the second edition Y-Wing Starfighter, which is a great mold, and finally we have the X-Wing from the second edition. Some awesome looking ships here. And that does it today for my review of the Star Wars X-Wing Miniatures Game 2nd Edition TIE Advanced X1 Expansion Pack. What a mouthful! This ship was first seen in Star Wars Episode 4 A New Hope, and for the ship size, it's a tiny bit over 1¼ inches long, which is pretty good. Keep in mind, all these ships are to scale with each other, for the most part. Now, the TIE Advance is a huge fan favorite. I would go as far to say it's as iconic as an X-Wing or the Millennium Falcon. When I go down an aisle at Walmart or Target, usually on a t-shirt, backpack, or jacket, I will see a TIE Advanced at least once. So it's a hugely popular ship, and for good reason. But in the terms of the second edition X-Wing game, is it worth it? Well, gameplay-wise, I think it is something to really look into. As of right now, not counting the upgrade kits, the core set only came with 2 Imperial TIE Fighters, but here we have the TIE Advanced. First of all, it has shields, and the ability to use such mechanics as the Force, which may come in handy. Now second, the expansion pack comes with everything you need to add this great ship to your core set, which is great. Now, looking at the ship from a model collector's standpoint, it's the same ship we already got from the first edition of the game. There's no surprises, you know what you're getting into. Fantasy Flight Games make some of the most beautiful models I've ever seen in my life. Then we have my particular TIE Advance, which on the whole looks great, but as we've seen while looking really close at the detail, it has extra plastic on the sides, around the cockpit, and then on the aft of the wing. But regardless of my ship's personal flaws, the mold is solid. Some great designs, beautiful angles and line work. It is a great ship to add to your collection, it really is. Now moving on to the paint. Oh, the paint application is beautiful on here. The blue, the black, the glossy black gray, and the orange for the laser cannon. Some pretty awesome stuff. Now sadly, where the paint goes downhill on mine, and I can't believe I'm saying this because I'm such a huge advocate of it, is the black wash. Now on the main body, it's perfect. The ship is great, there's no issues. But when the black wash goes on the wings, especially in the front, you can see how heavy it is and how it pools to the point where it's black on the wing, especially on the bottom as well. Now, black wash is used to cover a model so that way it seeps into the lines and makes the details pop. So the paint works with the model. And as I always said, if you have that paint and it's thick and you pool it on and it's no longer filling lines and showing off detail but covering it, then you have a problem, and that's what happened to this particular model, which is a little sad. Now speaking of buying one, like I mentioned before, they will cost you anywhere from $14.99 to $19.99 depending on where you go. I strongly recommend Amazon or eBay, but you can go to the Fantasy Flight Games website, some hobby shops, or check your local Barnes & Noble. Sometimes they do have miniatures as well. So that's everything I have to say about this great looking ship today. I hope you enjoyed the review, guys. If you did, hit that like button. And if you'd like to see new reviews every Thursday, subscribe. Again, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.